Hello, hello. Happy Friday, happy Saturday, happy end of the week, end of the month almost. Hello, hi. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for being here. Hey, Bloom. Oh my goodness, so good to see you. I'm so excited. That's so funny that I didn't see your post about KDP, and I was like, I'm going to talk about KDP this morning. And then I saw your post and you're like, how is it working with KDP? And I was like, I was tuned in, man. I was tuned in. I know. I can't believe it's the end of June either. It is so crazy. I mean, okay, wait a second. January, February, March, April, May, June. I had to think, was June the, I had to think, was June the sixth month or the seventh month? This is how my brain is right now. Right. So this means that this is like the end of the first half of the year. Wow. It's so cool. I will say I was looking back at my vision board. You remember we did those vision boards? And I hadn't really done a vision board, like actually created one in some time. So that was my first time last year where I spent some time, doing the whole exercise, and it was really fun, and I picked the pictures and I put them on there. And But yeah, like one of the things was to do the 18th. And of course, I had already started working on that, so it's not totally a shocker, but it is still great that it's it's done. So that was really cool. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I would be curious. That would be a fun thing to talk about maybe on one of your lives too, is to maybe do like a vision board check-in. That would be fun. Oh wait, you didn't do yours this year? Oh, that's it. That is funny. I thought you did one. You did some visualization images. Got it. Well, I mean, really, that's the most important thing, right? I think. But I have been. It's been interesting for me to. Sorry, like hair in my mouth. To like go back and like um look at the picture again. Because it is like when I did it, and I think this is interesting about time in general. The passage of time is like, you know, when I did it, I kind of thought, oh, I'll always remember this. Like this isn't going to be that hard for me to remember. It seems really clear and easy. But even like 3 months later, I was like, what was on that vision board? And so maybe that's my brain, maybe more that's more about my brain than it is about time passing. But I think when I think about the bigger time passing, like life, I was talking to some students recently about creating a time capsule. Um, because I did that when I was 9 years old. My school created a time capsule. I don't know if you've ever done that or anyone has ever done that, but they did a time capsule and it was going to be opened in 50 years, which would be when I'm 59, and that's when I am, right? So that would be now. Um, and I actually put something in the time capsule. I was telling my son about this. It's a song that I wrote when I was 9, which is very funny because now, like, I've been doing the Suno things, but like, I did it. So the song, if you'd like to know, um, because maybe it'll come out a time capsule and become thing. No, just kidding. But it was like I had a lunchbox at the time that had a cartoon on it that was like it was like a patriotic cartoon lunchbox, and it was the Liberty Bell, and there was a little boy with a slingshot behind his back, and he was looking up at George Washington. And he said, "Honest President Washington, it was broken when I got here." And so I guess I thought that was really funny, and so I wrote a song about that, and it went, "Honest General Washington, it was broken when I got here." Yeah. So, yeah, when they open that time capsule, they're gonna be in for a treat. So I wrote out the music and everything. Oh, you've never done a time capsule. Oh, well, I mean, and I think I think it's just fun thing to do for, you know, it's just like it's fun to like kind of take things from the current moment and put them in a box or whatever and then open them in 10 years and be like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't have to even be a thing that you close." I mean, whatever. There's also these journals. Have you seen the one line a day journals? Those aren't time capsules, but the similar idea, which is that you you have like in your book you have the date, right? You've probably seen these. So it would be like today, so it would be like June, whatever it is today, it's 27th. And then beneath June 20 on the page for June 27th, there's 5 years. So you'd have 2026 and you'd have one line. And then below that you'd have 2027, June 26th, 2027, one line. And then you'd have June 26th, 2028, one line, right? So on this one page, you'd have one line a day of this day for 5 years. It's really cool. And it's again, it's the thing is that like when you first start it, you're like, oh my gosh, 5 years, that seems like forever. But and of course, for me, I always start them and then I don't keep going, unfortunately, because when I do, it's really cool when you circle back around and you're like, you read your one line from the year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And like, I mean, it would be so cool if I had that now, if I'd been doing it and I had my year. Because, like, right now, even this year, I'm circling back around now because it's June to when I first arrived in China. So I have arrived and I arrived in July, but I'm getting there. So it'll be almost 1 year, you know? So it would be so cool if I had done that, but I didn't. I guess I could start now. Okay, enough waffling. On to the business of the day. Um, okay, so today I'm going to talk about Amazon KDP and my experience publishing with them. I've done 3 different formats so far. I did hardback, hardcover, paperback, and ebook. And I will do audiobook too, but not yet. So the first thing that I want to say that overall, just from my experience, it was just that writing a book and going through this process was so much fun. Like, I highly, highly recommend it, even though it was hard and it did take a long time. Um, and there were lots of moments where I was hopeless. And thought, there's no way that I will ever get this to any point where anybody will read it or whatever, or be able to finish it, or that I will like it. There were lots of those moments, but the process was so great because I mean, I know Bloom, you've done a lot of these. You've had so many projects. You're out again. You're like the model in so many ways for me because you take ideas and you translate them into products and into services and into reality in a way that I just it blows my mind. Um, so you might not need to hear this, but for me, it was really um interesting to watch the process of me trying to take something of an idea from my head and my experience and translate it into something that I could share with someone. Um, and how that required trial and error, like trying this format and that format and like um giving it up and then coming back to it years later and like all of that, but also like culling it. So once okay, I decided I'm going to do this book and it's going to be all things together. I still had to then decide like what's going in, what's not going in, and like all of that. And if I could, and maybe I will like do another version. No, I don't think I will do another version, but I could keep going and keep changing this book. You know what I mean? Like it could keep being changed, the shape of it forever, I think. Um, but my point is the process was really enriching and valuable. And it was nice to be in the process doing this, but also have something at the end to show for it. That was really, for me, that was really exciting. So I highly recommend it if anybody's thinking about writing a book, even, it can be anything. Like it could be short. It could be like children's book, right? Bloom. I mean, it can be a children's book. It could be a book of poems. It could be art. It could be art with poems. It could be a novel. It could be a trade book. It could be whatever, a memoir, right? Anything. I just think the process of writing is really great. Okay, so that was my first thing. Um, as far as Amazon KDP, so um, there are there are different things for each format, but the hardback and paperback kind of go together, and then ebook is a little bit more of its own animal. Um, so the main lessons I would say for hardback and paperback that I'm going to share with you, just as like a couple of small things. Bloom said, "Oh, you haven't seen those journals? Yeah, they sound like fun. You imagine the editing down part is hard." Yeah. I mean, the thing that was funny was like there would be so many points where I would be struggling with the topic because mine are kind it's kind of like a series of mini essays in a way, right? Each chapter is kind of like its own thing. And so I would go into one of these and I'd be like, I have 8 pages or 10 pages, or I think the longest chapter I have is like 12 pages. So very, very few pages to say everything I want to say about happiness, or about money or about health or whatever. And so they would go through these like expansion and then contraction and then expansion and then contraction. And there'd be whenever I was in like the expansion phase, it usually required a lot of like deconstruction and dismantling of whatever I had done before. And those phases were the hardest because there was just like destroying whatever I had done before and not knowing exactly where I was going, but knowing that it had to be done, but not knowing if I could do it. And being like, oh my gosh, how can I ever make sense of this? So those were the hardest. But and then whenever I made sense of it, I always thought, okay, great, that's awesome, it's done. And then the second worst part was coming back 2 weeks later and being like, how did I think that was done? That's totally not done yet. I had to dismantle it again. I don't know if all writers have to go through that, and maybe that was kind of unique to this book too, because it was really trying to fit so much into like these small little packages in such a unique way, and I couldn't say everything that I wanted to say. It just wasn't possible. And yeah, so even now, like there are stories, there's one story about pickle jars that I really wanted to get in about my mom and pickle jars, and I couldn't get it in. And I'm like, how can this book be published without the pickle jars? How's that possible? But it's just gonna pickle jars will just have to be, a blog post or something, which is fine. You have a friend who wrote a novel and is trying to get it published with a publisher, and she's starting a second one because she loved writing it so much. Awesome! That's so great. Yeah. Well, I do know some people who are like fiction writers. Well, I don't know people. I know a person. Do I know people? Well, at least I know a person who's a fiction writer. If I can help her in any way, if she needs a contact. I don't know what kind of book it is, or novel it is. Maybe that matters too. But I do know a really nice I do have a friend who is very nice and novelist, if that would be helpful. And yeah, I'm also excited about writing more, and try different things. I want to try some things that are, yeah, not so like maybe um practical. I mean, this is not that practical. It's still kind of like a philosophical, you know, thing, and it's still personal stories and stuff, but I think it would be neat to do some other styles. So, um, yeah, sorry, I'm waffling a bit. All right, so I'm going to show you so my book was built in Canva, and I don't think that really matters too much for most people because if you're going to build your book in Canva, then you build your book in Canva. Like it's just that depends on what kind of book you're writing. But if you do a normal book, like a novel, then you probably don't need to build it in Canva, right? Like I just needed to do that because I wanted it to the feeling of it, was important to me, even though it's not like I'm doing color and art and whatever in the book. I wanted it to like I wanted it to feel like you could open it to any page and find something on there that resonated with you. That's my hope. And so it was just nice to be able to like, if I, this was really cute. This was in the chapter about home and housing, is in my simplicity chapter. And so at the end of the home and housing section, I had the little cat in the cardboard box, so just kind of trying, because I know sometimes this stuff is heavy. I mean, there's the expansion of it, but then there's also sometimes it's still kind of hard. You're like, to leave my home or whatever, you're packing and well, so like trying to anyway, that's why I couldn't do it any other way. So in a Canva, but um when you have your document, if you're not doing it in Canva, then you can either upload it directly to Amazon, or you can use some platforms which can like make it a little bit nicer for you. And they're not too expensive. I did look at many different platforms. I could do a separate thing about that if people are interested. I did not end up subscribing to any other platforms. The only thing I've paid for is when I did my ebook, I've ended up paying someone to help me um, format it at the end of the day, because I got it 80% of the way, and then it was just like, I'm going to pay someone on Fiverr to take it the rest for me. Um, okay, so I just was going to show you though the one of the tricky things. It's a very small thing, but this was a tricky thing about creating the book cover that I thought would be helpful. So if you get this far, um, and Amazon KDP is very friendly. They have these nice templates. So this template here is just straight from Amazon, just like that, beautiful. And it has the dimensions here. So you just go in and you create your thing as a custom size. I don't know where, I can't show you that, but if you go in here and you can either resize it, or if you just start it as a new document, you can create it as this specific size, and it has to be like, you know, 152.4 millimeters by 228.6 millimeters. You know what I mean? Like, or here's the overall dimension, sorry, 14.094 by 10.417. So you have to do that exact thing. And then you have your template, so that's the overall outside size of this page for my cover. And then this is the template. But the tricky thing is, you would probably guess that this white area is the area you need to center your design in. And that would be a very reasonable guess, but it is not the case. So this black line is the edge of the design. So you can't have your design outside of that. And these dotted lines are the spine. But your cover is actually this inside dotted line to the black solid line. So that is your actual area that you want to center. So this white is not centered right now, right? It's a little bit to the right. So what I did is I just created another one. And then it doesn't look right. Oh yeah. So then you can just kind of like pull that out. Yeah. So you can see here, I created this like rectangle, and it goes all the way to the edge of that dotted line. So that's now my frame that I want to center within. So then I could copy that and bring it onto my design, and I could either eyeball it, or I could just, I could measure and place my design centered within that box. So that's the box that you need to do. So that's the key. And it's kind of similar here for the spine. Yeah, the spine has the white area here, but I created a box that was just a little bit more narrow, because when I did the print I didn't want it to go all the way to the edge, and it would go all the way to the edge if I wasn't careful. Okay, so that was my main lesson here. I did do a print, my first print, and the cover was like skewed to the side because I centered it within that white area, this white area, instead of within the whole thing. Okay, that was the first thing. The second thing is just that the page numbers do matter. So like here in this example, it's 132 pages. Well, I ended up adding a page, and it became 134 pages. And I had to redo the covers for both hardback and paperback. You wouldn't think that would matter because it's actually just one sheet of paper. When it's 132 to 134, that's just one sheet of paper because it's two-sided. And it didn't change, I think, for the paperback. The cover didn't change, but it did change for the hardcover. So, um, yeah, so that was that. And then the other thing that I learned, which I thought was interesting, well, actually, two things are more about the marketing side using Amazon KDP. And I have that up here. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. I was like, wait a second. Let me stop sharing this one and then share. Okay, so put in 8 keys, simple framework, and then the book comes up. My book. That's crazy. Okay, so if I go to the page for the book, yeah. Okay. So now there's this Amazon A plus content, which we get to control as the author, and it's down below the book. So I'm just as a normal person now. I'm on the public site for the book, and I'm going down here, and here it is from the publisher, which is also me. And this now is a Amazon A plus content. So I created this, and I did Google, or not Google, but I did um, get advice from Chat and Claude about this. But I also found a YouTube video that I watched about the A plus content, and I will put the link for that below about how to do this well. And I think I can still improve mine, but a lot of people, they just kind of maybe put their picture, or um, I don't know. They don't this really should be treated as a marketing tool, and you want to have your hero frame, you want to have, your addressing pain points, you want to have what's inside. Here's what I have in my third thing, and then the fourth one is like your how you will feel after you buy this book. You're going to feel calm, you're going to have your cup of tea, you're going to feel settled and happy, right? So so those are the four kind of stages that I was trying to do here. Um, so I did research that, and then I worked with the AI to come up with the ideas, and then I had to create all of these in Canva. Amazon uses its own templates, and you're supposed to build within their templates, but I didn't like their templates because I couldn't control the color of the background, I couldn't control the color of the font, I couldn't control. There was only one headline, so I couldn't have a subtitle. Everything, my little ornaments, like none of that. So I ended up just doing each of these as separate images, um, and then each block is a separate image that I then upload um, into the Amazon format. And I think you can have like 5 or maybe even up to 7 blocks, and I only have 4 right now. So I might add one more that's like about the author or something, and have my picture maybe with my mom's hat, for one of the stories I talk about um, my mom's hat and legacy. So um, yeah, so that might be nice because I mean I am new and no people don't know me, so it might be nice to have something about me. So that was one thing that I didn't know about, and I thought that was good. The other thing is um, about the author, and I don't know if I can show this to you because the site actually went down yesterday. Oh yeah, so here we go. Oh, thanks, Bloom. Bloom says that looks really nice. That's great that you're not pigeonholed with the Amazon templates. Creative solutions, mom. Come up with creative solutions, right? I mean, I will say, as a little aside, I tried using Claude Design, after your demonstration the other day. I was like, "Perfect, I'll do the landing pages in Claude Design." And, um, it did pretty well on the design. I had to go back and forth a bit and whatever. But the main issue I found, and I went back and forth with it trying to solve this, is that when it would give me the download, for some reason, it kept rasterizing it, and so the images kept getting blurry. Like, if I it would look clear on the screen when Claude was showing it to me, and then I would download it, and it was downloaded at double the required, size. So, like, the size for Amazon is 970 by 300, and I was downloading it at 1940 by 600, whatever that is, doubled. Um, and Claude kept saying that was supposed to work. It should be fine because it's gonna be shown at 970 by 300 anyway. And I kept saying, "But it's blurry. It's blurry, but it's blurry." Um, and so finally I was like, "I'm just gonna try building it in Canva." And I built it in Canva, downloaded it, uploaded it, and it was clear. So I think I went back to Claude and I was like, "By the way, I just did it in Canva and it worked." And then it was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right. You found one of my limitations." And I'm like, "Did you try opening it in Canva from Claude?" No. I mean, I did try, but my Canva was grayed out because maybe I hadn't connected them correctly or something. I thought I connected them, but I did try that, and the Canva was grayed out, and I didn't try that. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, yeah, yeah, because that was definitely, it was the step that was making it a problem. That I was like, it was giving me this download, something was being rasterized or whatever, and then I was, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was that step. Otherwise, I think I would have been fine. So that's a good point. Um, but the other thing I was just going to show you is like this about the author, um, which doesn't have anything, so I can't really show you now. But there's a place here where you can author central, which the reason I want to show this is because this is not within Amazon KDP. And so I only knew about this because I asked somebody, Claude or ChatGPT or whatever. I was like, "Is there some place where I'm supposed to put, you know, something about me?" Because I saw this like about the other, but anyway, it's a different site, and so it's just good to know that that's there because otherwise nothing was even on all of the Amazon KDP like marketing and information. It doesn't tell you to do this. Go to this author central. Let's just see if it works. If it's working again today because I kept getting a 504 error. Ooh, yay, it's there. Cool. Um, yeah, so then I can go here, I can see all my books, and I can add my picture, you know. Let's see if we can, I have something on my desktop, I think. Let's see if we can add, uh, do I have something on my desktop? Thought I did. Yeah, there. See if we can just add it. It's probably not the one I want to use, but just see. Publish. Um, and you can have your little description and whatever. So then that's a good way for people to learn a little bit more about you. Well, that's very fun. Yeah, you can add your biography. Oh, there's a biography there. Oh, okay. I guess that's the one I was gonna do. Bloom, you're saying, it wouldn't let you use that one either. Wait, I tried to order your book this afternoon. Oh, thank you. So exciting. Oh, thank you, Bloom. You're so sweet. But my silly Amazon was acting up, so I'll try again this weekend. No worries. It wouldn't let me switch my credit card, and it wouldn't let me use that one. Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Gotcha. No worries at all. Um, yeah, I did check, like, there's a reports page, for Amazon authors, And also that looks pretty good too. Oh, here, look, you can have an author page URL so that I could like put that on my website or whatever. I mean, I think it's very nice. Um, it says we have updated the look of author pages. Photos and videos are not displayed anymore, so that's fine. But you have your picture and your biography, so that's cool. And see how your author page looks in different countries. Will it be in different languages? Nah, I don't know. Um, so yeah. Oh, I'm so excited, Bloom. Yeah, I was like, I kind of felt like I had to like I was putting off some things kind of like to allow myself to celebrate, you know? Like, you know, there were just certain things that I was like, after June 26th, after June 26th, I'll do it. And that was one of the first things. Yay! I'm a lemon drop, official lemon drop. Yeah. And if you don't know, for anyone, and I will tell my students about this too, they should all join. They should definitely all join. I can't believe how much resource there is out there for them that they're not aware of, you know? And yeah, so I will definitely tell them. And hopefully they'll some of them will join. The artist students that were going to talk to me yesterday did not appear. I think maybe they oh here, let me stop sharing my let me stop sharing this now. Oh, I was going to show you the reports just so that you could see. Oh no, reports on marketing, Amazon followers, book recommendations, sales rank. So this one, of course, it'll be 0, but uh no sales rank. No data. But anyway, yeah, so I think, I mean, I just feel like the layout is for me is very friendly. It's very easy to see. So yeah. Okay. Um, oh, they will translate it. I was going to ask you because because you have your children's book. So have you done this for your children's book? Like, do you have your did you do like A plus landing page stuff and do you have a author page? Not yet. Okay. Um, but you said they will translate it. So the author page, or no, not the other page, the whatever it was we were looking at. It was what's the author page? They're going to translate that, and that's cool. Yeah, there are many PODs in China. Do you know about some? Because I don't know. No one here has been able to really answer that question for me yet, and I haven't been um looking deeply into it, but I do think that it would be nice to have. And I Amazon does not have a China. Um, it's not one of the countries that I see listed in the China. I have Amazon worldwide distribution, but I don't see China um listed. Japan is there, um, but not China. And so I didn't know if that was the thing, because you do need a VPN to access Amazon. So I think that that's maybe not a thing here. And even for Kindle, I don't think that they can even do the Kindle um, ebook through Amazon. So I'd have to do the ebook and the print copies. Yeah, I think it blocks Amazon. Um, well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it must block Amazon. I know people don't know about it either. So like it's not even like a thing. But yeah, I think it's blocked. And but yeah, there must be a way. I don't know. So I just right now I'm just, I printed all of these little guys um here at the printer and I'm going to take some to the school next week and share them with some of the students, whoever wants one. And it was really cute. Actually, in one of my classes this week, I said, "Oh, I'll bring some in next week." Um, and if if you want, I can sign it for you." And they were like, "Oh." They were like and they were teasing each other because they said, "Oh, if you get a signed copy, then you can resell it resell it on eBay or something." That's so funny. Do they have something similar that competes? Yeah, I mean, I think they have definitely, they have their own big, distribution sales thing. Um, I just don't know how to get on it. I don't know how to list something for sale on it. Like, it's not like a book POD thing. So that's what I don't know. But I am surrounded by people who are the right people to ask. I'm sure there is someone here, in my you know, orbit who can help me figure that out. It'd be fun to try and figure out. And also to make sure that I'm not violating the contract that I have with Amazon KDP. That would be another question because I think for the print and paperback, I don't know, I don't remember, but you had to choose whether you're exclusive with Amazon or whether you're not. And I think I chose to be exclusive with Amazon right now. Which I would assume means that I can't do something with a printer in China. But I don't know if they're not in China, maybe that market doesn't matter. It's just not sure. So, um, anyway, I will say for me, I, I don't, I can't even imagine how it's going to feel the first day that I look at my report and there's like a positive number there because I'm just so my life has been so much about um learning and consuming and like giving out purchasing other things. The idea that someone might be purchasing something of mine is like mind blowing to me. And so it's just going to feel really really nice to see that happen. May it happen many many times. may, may it grow. May it flourish. Okay, so I think those were kind of the main things that are like some of the few little lessons that I've learned. I think just to reiterate my some of my process, I would say I realized that there were four parts of writing a book or publishing a book. There was the writing, which was hard. That was a big part. And then there was the editing, and of course that went back and forth. And then there was the formatting, and that also went back and forth because, at least for me, the formatting was connected with the writing because how it looked, how it felt was just as important as what was being said. So that, would sometimes I would see things differently when I saw it formatted. So then I would maybe circle back and do writing and editing again. And then there's the publishing. And I guess there's really a fifth part, which is then the marketing, which is where I am now, which will be really fun because I get to do all the things that Bloom has taught me and apply them, hopefully. Um, yeah, doing all the, I'm going to focus on YouTube and Pinterest. So a lot of things that you have taught Bloom, I'm hoping I can apply. Yay! um, Bloom says, "Oh, Timu is Chinese too." Yeah, sounds like they have a lot of competition. And if it's set up for how Chinese people shop, then they would definitely be better suited. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, I don't know that a lot of people in China would want this book. I mean, it is in English and it is still culturally um, centered, right? I mean, some of it is general. All of us humans care about money and happiness and health and support and relationships and death and dying and, you know, legacy and purpose, like all of these things. Um, but they're also a little different. Legacy has been interesting because I think I mentioned in one of my classes. they were asking, and I was going through the things, and they got to legacy, and they were like, "Huh? What? Why would you? What's legacy? Why would you have that on there?" And then I explained, "Oh, like, family history and like history through time and like carrying stories forward and what's left behind after you go." And they were like, "Yeah, and like, why? Why would that matter?" Like, it was really interesting, and I think part of that is it's such a given here that you have legacy. Like, they have continuity built into their culture. They don't have to think about it. And also, I think there's a generational thing where some of the younger people are coming up and kind of like, we don't we don't care so much about the past. We just care about now. And um, I hope I hope that doesn't last because I do think we need to care about the past matters. And I don't want China to lose that connection to its incredible culture and history, you know? And there's a danger of that. I fear if if they're not careful, things have changed so quickly that, there's this generational difference and the younger generation doesn't necessarily value the older generation because it's just so different. And same, older generation may not value the younger one because they're not seeing, so, it's just so different. Um So, but it's not true for everyone. There are some that are like, interested and yeah, hopefully they'll carry through. But so anyway, it'll be interesting to see if my students, if they do read it, if they have anything to say about it. Be very interesting. Um, Bloom says, yeah, I don't think we cared much about the past as young people either. LOL, we just forget that we were so self-centered. Yeah, that's totally true. It's totally true. Yeah. It is the unusual young person who cares, right, about grandparents and like grandparent stories and stuff. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I didn't really have grandparents growing up, which is why it's so interesting for me how my life has, path has taken me. All of my grandparents had passed away by the time I was like 5 or 6. Um, because my mom was older when she had me, just like I'm older when I had Theo. So, same for him. Like all of his grandparents, you know, well, he was a little bit older, but not much. 10 years ago, yeah, he was 10. So, I think that when I started to like, journey along with my mom, it was like really special for me because I was like, there was like this whole world of like that I hadn't really been a part of, and I just like love it. Bloom says, I've always loved older people and learning from older people. I've always had older friends too, but that is more unusual. Well, you're just amazing, Bloom, you know? That's the thing. I love that. I love that so much. And yeah, I think um we've kind of lost some of that opportunity, I feel too, like having those friendships, intergenerational contact sometimes is just hard to find, even if you want to. you know, Bloom says, I've always just been a granny, so I identify with older people too. I love that. Oh, you know what I saw recently? A little aside is that uh, one of my favorite people in North Carolina is this doctor named Neil Shaw. He's amazing, and he's an entrepreneur. He started a whole caregiving company. He like created this platform where like college, it's like Uber kind of thing where there's like gigs and you can sign up and be a caregiver, but and you get matched with people, and it's really cool because anyway, but he's done many things. And one on a video he did yesterday, he talked about knitting helping reduce the chance of dementia by like 50%. I love it so much. I can't knit. I find it really, really difficult. And I guess that's why it's so good for you. I mean, because it is hard, but it's using your hands and you're doing the whatever, and it's using your brain and your memory because you have to remember where you are. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole video, but I thought that was so cool. And I was like, okay, life goals. Another life goal. Crochet, does that count? I don't know. I don't know. I know. What about crochet? What about macrame? What about like whatever? The other thing I want to do a video about the finger games. Do you know the finger games? There's so many different ones, but one that I've just been doing this week is where you have the peace sign and you on one hand and the single finger on the other, and you touch, you know, single finger to the peace sign, and then you switch peace sign on the other hand. It's really hard. I mean, it's hard for some of us. I did it in a class and some people got it right away and some people didn't. And I was like, okay, that's probably saying more about us than we want to reveal. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different finger exercises, which I think is really cool. And it's a simple way to um, strengthen the brain. And so I thought that would be a fun video to make. That's super hard. You tried it. It looks simple, right? Ching, 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 ching. Yeah. Yeah. And there's other ones where you like have to touch, I don't know, different fingers on different hands and like, yeah. So, and there's ones where they're full body where you have to like tap knees and move feet. Just kind of like different combinations and left, right, and body parts and whatever. So, yeah, so I don't know if there's other questions, if people would like to have more in-depth, I could talk about like the different writing platforms that I looked into. Um, oh, I didn't talk about the ebook. Sorry, forgot about the ebook. The thing with the ebook is that you have to build it into uh well, you what Amazon wants you to do is build it into their site. So you build it directly into Kindle Create or whatever. You can upload a PDF, but it doesn't work very well because the whole point of an ebook is that it's like it's flowable, meaning people can expand the text and you can have hyperlinks and you can jump back and forth to chapters or jump to a hyperlink. Somebody has a reference or something. All of that can't be done if you just are uploading a PDF. So if you want to create a flowable document, um, the tricky thing is everything has to be done perfectly as a flowable, and then that file is uploaded into Amazon. And you can't edit within the Amazon once you've uploaded, right? You can't edit in there. And to do the formatting, at least for me, it was very difficult because I have all these illustrations and then I have the endnotes and then whatever. And I have illustrations and then I have some diagrams and then I have some sidebars. And then I have some ornaments. And I didn't have to use all of them. I was like, I'm fine. I understand like it'll be different in an ebook than it is in print. That's fine. But it's still it wasn't easy to do it in Word in a way that I could then upload it easily directly into the Amazon thing. So I did learn a lot by trying, and I got pretty far. And I think if I did it again, I could probably do it the whole way. But um, that was much harder than I expected it to be, I guess. Yeah. And yeah. So like for one thing, like in here, like the end notes, I have footnotes, and then at the back, there's the page number, and the footnote, right, is in the back. They're end notes. In the ebooks, they are all footnotes, so they would be on the same page. So like, if you have your footnote or whatever, it's just going to be right there, which makes sense. But that has to be done in the Word document a specific way. Yeah. And you couldn't really change like everything has to have the right assignment, right? Header one, header two, header three, whatever. And then it just wasn't easy to change the formatting of those things. It was not easy. Yeah. In a way that I liked. So but I'm okay with it now. Like I think the ebook is fine as it is, and it doesn't have it. The one that's up there at the moment is actually doesn't have a table of contents. It just goes right into the book. Um, but or maybe it has a table of contents, but it's just not linked. Um, but it is being formatted by a very nice person in Sri Lanka who's helping me, and that will be done in the next few days. And so then we'll have an actual one. And it's not even live anyway. It's all the ebook is still pre-order, and it will be delivered on June 28th. So I'm hoping maybe um, the kind person will finish in time that I will be able to upload their version before people get anything delivered. So anyway, that was my learning. But I do think the main thing is I encourage people to write books. It was super fun. And yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I feel like there's maybe going to be a renaissance of like book writing because it's kind of the thing. It's kind of like a vintage thing, you know? To write a book, maybe people will move into doing more long form writing because it's like, of course, I used AI. I wouldn't have been able to do this without AI, you know, not only for the formatting and all of that, but just to help me stay focused and stay on target and have a thought partner when I need one and like all of that without having to have an editor or whatever. Like it although I would love to have an editor. That's the other thing I would say is going through the process is like I really appreciate the idea of having an editor now, a human editor. And how hard that job must be. Um, but it would have been really nice to have a human, especially at the end. Like after I had gone through so many of my iterations and stuff, it would have been really nice to have a human to look at it and say, like, okay, is this working? Like, whatever, because AI tends to be a little bit too agreeable, right? And I would have to really say, like, I don't want you to be agreeable right now. I don't want you to sell this book to me. I want you to look very critically and, analyze this and blah, blah, blah. But even then, it's still telling me it's still talking to me in a way that it thinks is helpful for me. So it still has a bias based on its interactions with me that, even if I started a new thread, which I did, and I guess a human would have some bias too. There'll always be some bias, but AI gives us so many more opportunities. Yeah, I think so. I really do. And I think I get excited because I feel like there are going to be people who will create art or will write or will make movies, right? Like Linda and Jessica, who might not have done that otherwise. You know what I mean? Kelly, like she said she couldn't have imagined us to be doing this, 2 years ago. She'd be like making movies and art and moving, whatever, And so grateful that I get to see that art. Goodness, so grateful. Beatrice. Beatrice wouldn't be here, How could we have a world without Bea? It just wouldn't be as nice of a world. We need Bea and her dancing. More Bea, please. More Bea. Oh, Bloom, gosh, I went very long today. You're about to start your thing. I'm gonna have to let us go. But thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry for running so long, but it was lovely to have you, and thanks for being here. Thank you for all your support all the way along. And I'm so excited to be a lemon drop. Yeah, and yeah, I'll see you soon, and have a great, great weekend. Bye.